I'm Matt Bichard with REIT.com here at REITWeek 2013 in Chicago. Joining me for this CEO Spotlight is George Chapman, the Chairman and CEO of Healthcare REIT. George, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be here, Matt. Pleasure.
I'd like to start by looking at the various property segments that your company invests in and have you tell us which ones are facing the most favorable headwinds, or most favorable tailwinds, and which ones are facing maybe a little bit of a tougher climb?
That's a good question, but let me just make a general comment before we get going. From our standpoint, the real emphasis is best operator, best property, best markets, rather than structure, and probably somewhat apart from what types of properties. And the other thing that's unique about healthcare REITs and healthcare generally is that, in fact, I think we all have to invest pretty much across the whole spectrum to some extent, because as you know, as you've read, Obamacare is here, and integrated care is going to be important. So being able to invest even in acute care all the way down to IL, independent living, is critical. Let me give you an example. In Voorhees, New Jersey, we own a 300,000 square foot medical office building connected to the flagship for virtual hospitals, okay? Adjoining the property is a Genesis post-acute facility, a PowerBack, a brand new PowerBack. And to the north is a Brandywine assisted living dementia facility. And they all are working together. So our ability to go across the full spectrum, and bring people together is important. But now to your narrow question. We really like private pay. We prefer to avoid the volatility inherent in a lot of reimbursement. So we really emphasize senior housing. We think in the last 5 years, in a tough economic time, it's really proven its resiliency and will continue to do so, even going forward. And then medical office buildings. 65% of our care is delivered in outpatient. So the larger, newer, customer-friendly MOBs, medical office buildings, are our other area of focus.
And how will the Sunrise deal enhance your company going forward?
In a way, Sunrise epitomizes what we're trying to do. Best operator, facility, market. We'll complete the $4.3 billion investment July 1st. We've already invested, I believe, about $3.4 billion. And what's really unique about Sunrise is 90% of them are mansion style. They're in the best markets in the country. They're 8 years on average old. Their rent, market rent, is about 2 times the average rent in the country. These are very high end. And on top of that, I think they're going to be a consolidator, because there's going to be a lot of consolidation in senior housing. And finally, it enhanced our move into Canada and into the UK, as they had a number of facilities in both markets where we have a presence.
And lastly, can you talk a little bit about your strategy in regards to JV relationships, and what are some of the pros and cons of these types of deals?
Well, our relationship strategy, our JV strategy, is just part of our overall strategy, and that is, for years we have been a partner of choice. We've tried to add value, and so, easily over 60% of our deals every year are from existing deals. So the JV opportunities came about with the REIT legislation, and it allows us to have another arrow in our quiver, because some of the operators just want to align interests even more. They want a piece of the action on real estate. We want a piece of the action on operations to make more money. So we think these kind of facilities will give us greater growth and allow us to interact even more with those operators and hopefully add value. And I should say, in all of our deals, whether it's triple net or just the REIT JVs, we have best practice sessions. We try to get together and brainstorm how can we make healthcare better, how can we make senior housing better, because that will help, frankly, all the healthcare REIT valuations too, if the underlying property sector is more highly regarded. And we've even gotten to the point where we're doing group purchasing for insurance and food with them to add value. So we view the JV program as really a nice part of our portfolio. It's 36% today. And we think that that will also be particularly good as the economy grows more and we can benefit more directly from an increase in valuations at the property level and increased rent. So we're very pleased with that part of our program.
George, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Matt.
For more on this and other REIT news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.